Hey everybody, welcome to the Women Unfiltered series, Spicy Saturday. I'm your host, Tabitha.
I'm your co-host, Lauren. We are on the roller coaster of womanhood, all unfiltered.
From our overrated ovaries to, yes, dating peaks and disasters.
No topic is off limits. Join us on the first Saturday of every month for our candid combos.
Unfiltered advice and plenty of laughs as we navigate the good, the bad, and the downright chaotic moments that make up our lives as women.
Get ready to embrace your inner spice and enjoy the ride.
Hey, everybody. Welcome in a Little Bit of Life podcast right here with your host, Little. It is the Spicy Saturday episode. I know this is for the women, but guess what? Ladies, we couldn't be selfish. Sometimes we are. I had to have a male perspective. And when I say that my guest today with me and Lauren, this is my man. This is my main man. He is from Arizona. We have gone through a lot of just crazy shit together, but it has nothing to do with dating, but we always seem to come back to the conversation of dating. So I wanted a male perspective. Ethan, good to see you. How are you?
I'm doing good. I am currently traveling all throughout California, parts of Nevada, Oregon, and Washington. So I've been traveling for about 6 weeks and just really enjoying my life and really coming to find a lot of different perspectives while I've been out here. So that's kind of my journey right now. Perspective.
That's awesome. We're going to get into that journey and kind of what you're learning, because that's a reason I wanted to have you on and talk about, this. You're just kind of living this amazing life that through all of the triumphs and, all of the tribulations, it's kind of put you into where you are now. And I think that's crucial from a male perspective that, yes, I think Lauren and I can be very harsh on men, especially with our recent episodes. But I think, guys, this one's for you too. We're cutting you guys a break because I think that so many of us women almost put that, feeling of like, as a man, you have to have it all together. And we're going to dive into that. So I think my main question is, what is a defining moment in your life that shaped your understanding of what a relationship is or what you want in a relationship as a man?
Goodness. I guess it all comes down to like how many relationships you might have gone through already, or you've seen your parents go through something, you've seen your family go through something, and you are starting to shape your own ideas. And growing up, I grew up in a LDS household, Mormon, and I was raised up really well. I had a really good foundation. I was in Cub Scouts when I was 8. I was Boy Scouts. It was the kind of the how people would look at me is just a good kid. Like he's got it. His family's all right, but everybody has shit going on in their families, and everybody has a story to tell. And when I was younger, I was 8 years old, and the first time I ever heard the word affair came out of my mom's mouth, telling me that, hey, grandma and grandpa are going through something right now, and grandpa had an affair with another woman. And I was just like, I didn't understand it. I was bawling or whatever. I'm like, what's going on here, right? So from that point, I saw my family on a wide scale, like were really trying to pull together for them, because they didn't go through a divorce. They went through a separation. And seeing what my grandpa later on, because later on they did end up getting divorced about 9 years later. So they tried to work on things. But the thing that has shaped me is what I'm looking for in a relationship is just to feel like I'm worthy, or worth it. And I think what I've been doing for the last 5 weeks, I've gotten a life coach, and I've started writing things down, like what is going to make me feel like I have worth. And my last job that I had, by the time I left it, made me feel this big. And a lot of it came down to male validation is a real thing in this world. And like I was telling you before we got on early, right before this recording, was there are so many men in this world right now that are using this alpha male, look at me, you got to have XYZ for any woman to even be remotely interested in you. And when I got hired by my last last company I was working with, 5 weeks in, we did this thing called PPF, personal professional financial goal setting. And looking back on it, I'm like, why am I having a personal goal setting with my boss? Why is he wanting to know parts of me personally? Like it felt, and it was kind of weird. He started going, he's like, okay, so you want to be able to do all these things. And he started listing off, he asked me literally on a scale of 1 to 10, where do I think I fall in? And at this point in my life, I mean, I was like, man, I just played freaking, I wouldn't say superhero at all, but for my community, I went all out for a young man named Preston Lord who was murdered by a group of what we call a gang now called the Gilbert Goons. And I was like, I went all out for this family. I called out every member of their families because it was months before we even got an arrest. And so how they even came to me in the first place was my social media. I was gathering people all over my community. I had at one point 17.4 thousand followers on another account. And this grew organically within 3.5 months and not a dollar spent, nothing. And so we're dealing with, once I got hired with them, he's trying to tell me, he's asking me, what do I think? And at this point, like I said, I feel like I'm a 10. I was like, I just freaking went to work. I showed my worth, my value right there. And he's like, really? Interesting. Well, I mean, you don't have this, you don't have this, you don't have this. And he started going down from like a 10 to an 8 to a 6 to a 4, taking 2 points off for everything I don't have, apparently. And you're living with your dad. Your car is about toast. You're not in a relationship. Like, just started like coming at me. And so he said, well, wouldn't you like think that you're like more like a 3 or a 4? And I'm like, I mean, so manipulated at that point. I guess I was like, I guess. He's like, yeah, so we'll start there and then we'll get you up. That was the start of this. What I want in a relationship. The question that you're asking is, what do I want in a relationship? I'm under, just from a man to man, trying to tell me somebody my worth. I want to just have my own worth back.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing that a woman can completely give a man. If a man doesn't know their own worth, a woman can't really give that to them. It's
I didn't do an introduction with Ethan and Lauren on this episode because if you guys are watching this, like, this is real time, no introduction, no feedback. I'm sure Lauren's over there like, God, she's such an asshole, because I was very short in regards to prep for this because this is real and raw in the moment, because I think it's something important, because Lauren and I have come on here and had conversations, and Lauren, you can vouch for this one. We've gotten feedback. We've asked for feedback. But the reason I wanted to do this point of view is because you're bringing a whole other thought process to men of like, oh yeah, this is going on in like the real corporate America world. We're feeling this pressure as men. But 100%. Women, I want you to say, and Lauren, 100%, I want you to listen on that and give me your feedback now, because I think we've been really hard on men because we have this expectation of where we would like a man to be financially. Now I feel like a piece of shit for talking about paying on a date. Now I feel like a piece of shit. Where do you feel coming into this now of seeing the other side male point of view, the pressure that men are under financially just to be a man? Because I didn't know this was going on out there. Welcome to the party, guys.
I mean, I kind of knew that's going on. I have a lot of guy friends. And I mean, I am shooketh that a boss had the audacity to say something like that to you. But I do know women say that to men as well. So not just your boss. Like, I'm well aware that us women like break down men in that sort of way as well. When you were going over like my car, living at home, I was thinking like women talk about that stuff. We do. When we're analyzing a man, we're like, well, does he live at home? What's his job? We do. But I would be curious as to what like men think in that different kind of way. Like, how are you sizing women up? Like when it comes to evaluating what their worth is to you. Like, that's what I would love to know, because in the work field, I can sympathize, but I know that as a female, like in a corporate world, I've dealt with that too, except for the fact being personally attacked. Like, more so like women are getting, like, when we go to the workforce, you need to smile more. you need to wear more professional clothing. Like, you need to they more nitpick like our looks and stuff versus like that stuff. But that's where I'm kind of like, I have sympathy, but I'm kind of like, at the same time, I don't. So I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Only because I've experienced like, bosses doing similar things, but I do think like that's the audacity to do that to somebody in a workplace, is a little bit much to me. But yeah, I would love to know like your thoughts, because now I'm saying like, I know as females do talk about men in that way, like how are men sizing up women? Because I know that it happens. I have guy friends.
Yeah. I mean, if you go into guy talk, if you go into the guy chat, and I'm not gonna disclose the secrets or whatever. I'm not breaking bro code, or whatever.
Break it. No, I'm
But
just kidding. Peer pressure.
no, but I think most men, if they really, I think when they're younger and much more, or actually, screw that. You yourself have an ego. If a man has an ego, it's just going to be how it is. They're going to size up because they're insecure themselves. So everything comes from a place of insecurity. I'll be honest. I mean, I have a little bit of a type, but I've dated a lot of different, let's say, shape, sizes, ethnicities, all of it. Like I've had no problems actually when I'm sizing someone up. If you can make me laugh, if you can check on me and make sure that I'm okay, that's honestly all I need. All I need is to feel like I'm respected and validated. Actually, I wouldn't even say validated. I don't need validation. I just need to feel respected and feel like, what's the word I've already said it before, but just, yeah, for me, I think I want to just get to know the person. It was funny. I was on a dating app yesterday, and I hate asking questions right off the bat. Like, I know everybody just wants to get into 20 questions, but I'm a flirt. Okay. I'm a Libra. All right. 100% Libras are the flirtiest people on this planet. And so I would rather flirt around and for like the first 5 to 8 responses. And this woman was just so upset that I hadn't even asked her a question yet. And I was like, that's weird because nobody's ever, I'm not a sign person. I know I just said I'm a Libra and whatever or whatnot, but
A man that knows his sign.
Listen, I had an ex back in the day. She's a Pisces. We're going to say no. We are going to say no. Never happened. That's a real deal. Libras and Pisces don't belong. They don't mix. I promise you that.
Every woman right now is listening to this, typing in Google, does a Pisces male, does a Libra male, does this male go with this side? Because I swear your DMs are going to be like, hi, I'm a Sagittarius. How do we match? Ladies, go. Full send it.
Full send.
We do
Full
it.
send right now.
I've done it. I'm guilty.
I'm guilty.
I'm like, wait, he's a Scorpio? Does this work with a Virgo? I don't know. But then you're like, I'm a Libra moon. I don't know. I know all the stuff.
Like I said, I don't go into all of that, but my ex for sure was a Pisces. I was like, okay, maybe this one's real. But it was just more like Libras are more outgoing, we're more flirtatious and so forth and whatnot. Like I said, I was talking to this lady and she just got so upset. And she's like, well, you don't seem to want to ask me any questions about me. So I guess deuces. And I was
Interesting.
just like, that's totally fine. Because how I want to size up a woman is how well can you keep up a conversation? How well does it, because I don't believe right off the bat that I don't want to, I really don't want to know where you work. I really don't. I don't want to, because work conversations, it's like, oh, she does this, whatever. I don't really care. I mean, as long as you're not doing OnlyFans, I'm good. As long as you're not showing
Sorry,
yourself
OnlyFans.
up. Yeah, sorry, OnlyFans ladies, you're gone. But and that is not.
We're starting that list of no's. No's. We're just going to rack it up this whole episode.
100%, 100%. But as long as you can banter back and forth with me and have good conversation, talk to me more about like what my day to day looks like, or, just, I don't know, ask me about my family or, my friends, like where'd you go to school, so forth, where'd you grow up? Those are things that I'm like totally down for, because that can really start the thing. But I don't care about your job. I don't care about your career, your success. I don't care about whether or not you want to be a stay-at-home mom or whatnot. Like, if those are all goals that you want, we'll find out down the road. But I want to be able to see how much fun I'm gonna have. And by fun, I know how some girls think. Okay, I found this
He
out.
knows my
I,
reaction. I'm like,
so,
Fun, huh?
no, I know how. I just found this out recently, that fun for when a guy says you seem like you're a lot of fun, and I didn't know that means fun. Okay, that means, yeah. So I learned that recently, about like 5 months ago. I'm 34 years old. I just learned this. I know it's weird. And she's like, "Well, I don't mean like that. What are you talking about? I just want to freaking take you to go bowling or top golf, or like, I don't know, just out jet skiing or something or whatnot." And she's like, and I was like, and they say that guys have that mind. Okay.
there it is. Women are starting to go into that side a lot more than men. We've seen it on social media with the deep down and the dirty. Yeah, it's bad. Women are savages. I'm giving you guys that credit. You get another check. You're welcome.
So, yeah, as far as sizing up, just me on a personal level, don't care about your career. Just no Pisces, no OnlyFans. And
Nope and nope.
let's see how much you can keep my interests and flirt and keep a conversation going and want to get to know
I think
me.
it's
Oh, you go.
I think it's interesting you're talking about, okay, because I'm going to admit this, and for everybody listening, do not slide into those DMs. Trust me, you know how I work. But I recently got on a dating app. Like, I'm talking in like 24 to 48 hours. You snooze, you lose. And now I'm sitting here going, oh my God, like on my stuff, it says like what I do. Like, I run a podcast, and it's kind of weird because every conversation I've had is work related, of like, what do you talk about? And one guy, I felt kind of bad last night. He's like, well, I guess if nothing works out, you can say you matched with somebody and like start a conversation. I'm like, I mean, are you really sure you want to be my content? Because I was like, I'm recording tomorrow. But I never thought of that from a male perspective, because Lauren, I don't know if you're this way or not. I think as a female, when we reach that level of like, I don't know, like we're proud of what we do for a career, but I never thought of that, because I think like I've always talked about that in conversation of like, this is what I do, but I never realized like that's not what you go into it with. Like, this is where I'm from. This is who I am as a person. This is what I do, but this is who I am. I never thought of that. Lauren, what's your take on that?
I agree with you, Ethan, actually, on that, because when people ask me like what I do for a job, I have my full-time job, and then I love doing this with Tabitha here. So it's like when I try to explain all that to people, it sounds like I do a lot. And I mean, I guess I do, but yeah, my job is not what makes me me. So I agree with you. I'd rather somebody be like, where did you grow up? What was your life like? Do you have siblings? Because that is like your core of who you are. So I agree. And I think what you were also trying to say is maybe like compatibility, like the natural chemistry and compatibility is what you're looking for. And I think most of us are. I mean, to me, I don't really care what the particular job a guy has. I just want to know you're passionate about it, though, because I do know part of a guy's ego is their job in a way, or at least that's been my experience in the past, but it's not who they are at their core. And I also want to bring something up to you that I found very interesting recently with a friend who's married. She was really getting in her feels about a fight recently with her husband and stuff, and it just kept coming up, and she'd been nagging him about like her wants and needs. He's the main provider. I mean, we could keep that or take that part out. But it's like she's working, but she just like is always like, I want, I'm not happy. And then I finally told her, I said, do you realize how often you're saying that and how that probably emasculates him and maybe makes him feel insecure that you're never happy? And I finally was like, ask him how he feels. Like, express how you feel, but also ask, how does he feel about, boom, their relationship has never been better. So I would love to know your thoughts on that. Like, do you feel like us women maybe don't ask you guys how you feel enough?
There's so much content out there where guys will just say, we're fine. We're fine. And And I saw this video the other day basically stating that when a man is broken, there's like 5 different steps that happen. And a lot of it, and it's interesting because the algorithm knows you and obviously knows what I'm going through based off what I'm liking, reposting, and so forth. And one of the things that when it says when a guy is broken, they will isolate the people they love.
Mhm.
And but I mean, I don't know if this is if that's a human nature thing or whatever, but for a guy specifically, and that's how I felt after I lost my job. See, I spent 8 months and I really made that job my identity. I was super happy with my job for about 5 months. I was just enjoying getting in the truck, going to as many people, businesses as I could, bring in leads and being out in front of people. That's me at my core. But the job itself, I didn't realize if I lost that job that part of me went with it. And I needed to find all that I loved about that job wasn't the job, it was me. It was who I am. I like going in and talking to the random strangers and say, "Hi, I'm Ethan. I would love to have your business. What can I do for you?" And so I think from my perspective is that actually can hold on. I think we got a little off top. My thought process kind of went there. So what exactly did you say again on that part?
Basically, it was saying, like, do you feel like people or women in general are not asking their
Okay.
male
Yeah.
partner or their male friends enough of like how they are feeling?
Yeah.
Versus like females, we're always talking about our feels. I feel like, and that is true. I'm not gonna lie, but I feel like a lot of times men don't feel safe enough to talk about their feelings, or they're not getting asked enough.
Well, I mean, here it comes down to is the men that do want to talk about our feelings emasculate the people, the men that are coming for help. It's you don't have XYZ. You got to be a just godly man and everything like that. And then they bring. Listen, I am as much love to Jesus as I can get as a human being. But there comes a point in time where these coaches out there that say that they can help you, they'll help you get your business on track, they'll get your life on track, but the only way to do that is through this Scientology type of brainwashing that they do. And if you look into anything with Scientology, everything from Grant Cardone, anything that he teaches is purely Scientology at its core. And so what they'll do is they'll teach all these entrepreneurs that come to his thing and, hey, buy this, and buy this. And by this point, now you feel like you can now coach all these other people. And now you know everything and so forth, but it's all materialistic. You don't have XYZ. And so unfortunately, and this is actually a goal of mine, is to create a group or an organization for men that is it's not based off of your job. It's based off of your worth, period. I just listened to this talk a couple of weeks ago. This lady was talking about your worth being up here and everything that you build up to get to this worth, if it starts to go down, your worth still does not go away. And so I want to eventually create an organization. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but the vision's there, that we're going to be able to get men to have a safe place to where we're actually nothing. If the bottom line, your job and XYZ isn't your career, is not going to be the thing that matters. It's about who you are, what you want to do, what you want to be. And so with that being said, yeah, I do feel like men stay to themselves because because they're afraid that other men are going to take advantage of them. These alpha males, Andy Elliott's, the Grant Cardones, I can just, the name goes on, the Tate brothers, my gosh, constantly telling you that if you don't have this amount of money, you're screwed. Grant Cardone literally said you're poor if you don't make more than $400,000 a year. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
It's interesting because for those that are listening and maybe you know Ethan or maybe you don't, you've had a very strong social media presence, but your social media presence has really, I would say, evolved. I think with what you've learned, experiences, you weren't really one to put religion out there, and then it was something that you did. You were really known for your political standpoint. That's how you and I met each other. I mean, we had a whole group that would go out in Arizona together, and we stood for the same things and the same values. Now that things have changed in regards to your growth, especially in this, journey that you're going through right now, I think it's very key to allow men the space to be proud of themselves for the growth that they're making, but they may not be, they're going from A to Z. Well, you may go forward and then go backwards and go forward. Like, it's this ebb and flow. Do you feel that now that your content has changed because of your growth, do you feel like your selection has changed, or do you feel that you've really received some really negative feedback in the dating world? Because you're still present out there of like, hey, I'm single, this is what I'm looking for. But what you've been looking for has changed because you're changing.
Yeah. What I want now more than ever is just to have these experiences. Stories are everything. Why do we think that we're on this podcast right now? Is because of stories. And stories lead to conversation, they lead to ideas, and they lead to relationships in all kinds of ways. And so I guess my goal is to have enough, put myself out there to have enough stories and experiences to share with people. It's been 2 weeks really since I posted on my Instagram. And one of the last things that I posted about was I was supposed to head up to Oregon, but a winter weather storm said, bad idea. Why don't you instead go see your aunt in Sacramento, who you haven't seen in a while? And you show up and you see that her entire front yard is overgrown. Her backyard is overgrown. If you've ever seen SB mowing on TikTok or anything like that, this guy takes the craziest yards and turns them back into beauties. And so I get there and I'm like seeing a yard like this, and it's my aunt. And I end up staying with her for 2 weeks. And during that 2 week time, I'm having this is a time for another story in this regard, but I'm having great conversations with her. I'm helping my 15-year-old cousin, who is dealing with a bully. It was just like, it was a matter of being in the right place at the right time. And I guess if I had to say for any man out there and woman, if you ever get in a situation where you're stuck, that's a sure sign that you're supposed to go. And why I'm out here is I was going through the rut, being very bitter about my job situation, being let go. And it was about a month later, I was in the gym. I was actually having I don't know if you've had those days where just everything is clicking. I mean, your mind is right, your body's right, you're just having a great day. That was me. And I'm like, wow, okay, I haven't felt this in a while. I was on the treadmill and I have my headphones on, and all of a sudden this guy on this podcast said, whatever you do, do it with a pure heart. And I was like, I thought God literally just like echoed. And I looked around and I was like, I'm positive that I just heard God tell me something right there. And it was so powerful to me. I got off the treadmill and I just grabbed my bag and I went to my car, and I was like, shoot, that's wild. And then as I get in the car, all of a sudden I had this feeling of go, don't stop, go. And I believe at that time that God was telling me, hey, this place isn't for you right now. You've got to get out of here. And I'm sure some of us in our lives have had that. Maybe you ladies have had that in your life where you just had this, you needed change. Something needed to give and you had to go. And I said, okay, I'm going to go live out of my car. I lived out of my car for 2 weeks in Carlsbad before I realized, you know what? The struggle's been real. And then all of a sudden I had this feeling like God does not want me to struggle while I'm out here, and that he will take care of me eventually. But for now, use your credit card, go find some hotels, you start getting your life together. And so what I'm trying to say is for any man out there listening right now, your purpose in life is, if you're trying to find it and you don't know where to go, number one, take it to God. And then two is leave. Leave the situation. If you can, leave the situation. I'm 34 years old, single with no kids. Okay. It's easy for me to do. But there are going to be people in life that will mock you. I've had it. While I've been out here, I've had people say, you just need to, get a job and you'll find purpose. And that literally, it's just like it triggered me so much. And it wasn't the person that said it, it was the message. Because I remember the last time that I made a job my identity and my purpose, and it was ripped from me, how angry I was. And like, I was very angry towards God at that point. It was just like, I thought this was my purpose. I thought all this stuff. And what's happening to me right now is that I am finding that my worth is right here. And if it's just me by myself, I have nobody else to blame. And I think some men need to go experience that. Alone time is very dangerous for some men to be too alone. But as long as you're continuing to move the next day to the next day, I mean, like I said, started out in Southern California. I'm in Reno now. It's been 5 weeks, been hitting everything up. Lake Tahoe, by the way, amazing. You all should go. It's Christmas still in Lake Tahoe. But that's just it. I just want men to realize that their value is not based off of any category that they need to hit in life. And the same thing for women.
Society's doing that, but society's putting pressure. That's why I wanted you on. Society's putting pressure on men. And then you guys are, having to amp and amp and amp. So it's like, where is that ceiling cap for men? Like when you can say, hey, I've made it. Because I think as women, we come in then and we're almost like alter egoing and going along that step stool of, oh, you reached this. Well, that this person is here. And on social media, we're seeing that a lot. I mean, as I scroll, I've really started to set the old me, it would be this immediate of, I have a draw, do I have a pull to the physical? It's interesting because now, like, I'm switching my brain, and Lauren, tell me if you do this. I'm reading now first before I even look at the photo. And I've never honestly done that before because we work on a physical connection. And you and I have talked about like, oh, this is what I want in a man. This is what I want of a look. Well, the look and the actual connection of the personality, they are not going together. We're having a disconnect. We're having a problem. And now I've learned it's probably, because maybe I'm the problem. Hi, maybe I'm the problem. Okay. We'll get into that later. Maybe I'll have a breakdown later today. Just watch the Instagram stories. I'll let you guys know with a bottle of wine. But I'm doing things different because Lauren and I have had multiple episodes. Your guys' feedback has been awesome. But if we are expecting this from a man, what are we bringing to the table? Like we can sit here and talk red flags all day and we can talk about how big a girl's butt is, but we can talk about how big a man's bank account is. So we're always kind of counterintuitive of what we're looking for versus our expectation. But I think what you're doing is really interesting because I hope this doesn't offend you, but you know me.
You won't offend me.
You don't have it all together right now, but there's beauty in a man not having it all together. But before this episode, Lauren knows I would have said, I want a man that has their shit together. My profile says, have your shit together. But what is that shit together? Like, what does that mean? Because I think as society, we're like, you got to have the car, you got to have the house, you've got to have the need. And it's not always material. It's you have to have that need to like want children, or grosses me out. You're not getting babies. Bye. But you have to have like a good family bond. You have to have, and like Lauren, do you feel this way? Because I feel like on episodes now, I'm sitting here going, I've always said like, I want this, I want this, I want this. And now I'm sitting there like, but what's next? Like if everything's handed into my lap as a female from a male of my checklist, is there ever a ceiling cap for us? What do you think, Lauren?
I mean, that is a great new perspective to have. And it's funny you say that because I actually took myself off the dating apps 2 weeks ago because I'm still continuously going through a journey with my health and figuring a lot of stuff out. And I felt like I was not at a good place to date because of that. And I've had other friends be like, why are you doing that? Like, you're fine. And I was like, well, I don't want to date somebody and have to explain that I'm going through like this right now.
Guilty.
And it's like a second job. Yeah. So I'm like, good that a man can relate. But I literally did that. I literally was like, I don't feel like it's not that I didn't feel like I was good enough, but that's how it comes off. Like I now realize that you brought something to my mind that I'm like, here I am. Yeah. Saying that I'm maybe not good enough. When I've had a guy friend look at me straight in the face the other night was like, Lauren, a real man will love you no matter what. will
you
like
need
you
that
no matter what.
emotional stability
Yeah, and it's
in
just,
that.
I guess I took myself out of it because I just didn't want to come off broken. So you brought up a
Interesting.
really good point, because here we are, yes, saying like what we're looking for in a man, but here I am being like, well, how can I expect like a guy to meet my standards when I feel like maybe I'm not meeting my own? I don't know. So you
My
brought up that in my head right now.
I'm probably the only guy that's ever said this to you, and
Uh-oh.
I'm not capping at all when I say this. No, it's not a bad thing.
Be real.
Um, I'm being very real. When a woman is on her period, that is my time to shine. That is like, you tell me that if you say you're on your period, I'm like, okay, do not tell me to not come over or whatever, or do not tell me you don't need anything, blah blah blah. You don't want girls. I know you want the cookies or the something or whatever. Just like even an argument, just to be like have something going on. I don't know. I know some women like just want to be noticed in that regard. So, like for me, that's my time to shine because I know that is your most vulnerable times where your body is just absolutely just doing its thing and something that us guys can't relate to. And so, but when it does come to help, I mean, I was dating a woman for a while, and the reason why we didn't work out for other reasons, but I, I just got let go from a really good job at the time. I didn't really get let go. The company had $50 million worth of embezzlement money. We can go into that one later. Corporate America for you, right there. But yeah, $50 million in embezzlement, and they just shut down the entire company. And then I was like trying to figure stuff out again. I was like, man, I was making really good money, and you know, now I'm going to need to do this job. Anyways, my health took a massive decline, and I realized why I can't live in Arizona anymore. The heat is absolutely brutal to me, and so I spent an entire year in depression because the heat was causing issues with my body. Ended up having to have a surgery, so there was actual health reasons. But during that time period, this woman that I was dating, she kind of knew things were off with me, but she was still like, hey, let me help you. Like she was the kindest woman. So when I say that, I've had that woman be there for me, not say you need XYZ. I love you for who you are. And I've had that before. Unfortunately, her circumstances.
Yeah. I was I was asked to be on a podcast recording yesterday, which was very interesting. It's a really big music company that the lead singer had a medical condition, lost his voice. They had to stop the band at like the biggest time and the biggest part of their career. And the bass member and him opened a nonprofit to go. They're called Hand Over Feet Project. It's really neat, but they help families in Haiti, and they just really dove into different things. And it was interesting because it was to tell my story. And I remember going on, and we always measure things based on other people's success. And I think that's also where social media is coming into and the dating world is coming into, right? Because on dating apps, you're not going to pick a photo that's not really the best picture of you. You're on an interview. Yeah, you're on an interview without actually seeing somebody or talking to somebody. It's literally you on a piece of paper with your face. And it was weird, like sitting in this podcast yesterday and them, talking about like, what do you do and what have you done? And it was weird for me to like talk about that because I sat there thinking, I'm very successful in my opinion, but what I feel is successful is not success for somebody else. Podcast was focus. And it was interesting because I went off and like went on the dating app and I was like, how am I presenting myself? How am I focusing on who I am, not what I'm looking for? I don't have control over that. I have no control over who I will match with, who may be attracted to me. I was in a 5.5-year relationship and it just ended. Like that happens in life. I don't have any control. And so it kind of brought me into read the bio descriptions, read what it is that person is presenting to you. I mean, I used to run interviews in corporate America. Did I look at the person's appearance first when they came in? No, because I already had their bio on their application and on their resume. And I'm like, I'm doing the same thing for dating in an aspect because I'm looking for a partner. I'm looking for somebody I can communicate, work well with, be around. And then I felt really shitty because I remember like Lauren and I sit here and I'm like, oh, look at this guy. Because we do that. And I know men do it too. I mean, it's you have to have that physical attraction. You have to have, that pull and that draw. But I think we're really focusing on more as we get older. My God, I'm going to be 40 this year. It scares me really bad. But it's like something like that too. Like with men, it's, oh, I have to have this job. And I'm sitting here like, oh my God, I'm turning 40 this year. I thought I'd be married. I thought I'd be a mom by now. I thought I would, to other people's children. I'm not doing that. So I think there's like this thing of, I feel like a failure, and kind of how Lauren was talking about like her medical, my medical. I was like embarrassed of like, who's going to want to date me because I do this, this, and this. Doing social media like this for a living, I do feel like I kind of have to tell somebody, hey, by the way, this is what I do. Because if you piss me off, you're going to be on here. Like, I'm going to talk about you. But it's weird because I don't have a regular job. I don't have a job like that you could just go and check out of, you know, and that's hard for me to know that. I just had this conversation with Lauren because every man, and I'm going to bust your balls, buddy. And I hope you listen to this episode because guess what? This comment is for you, homeboy. You got 2 letters for your initials, and this one is right sitting in your lap. If one more man tells me they are intimidated by me, I'm going to buy you a box of super tampons because guess what? You are not the match for me. You are not the match for me. I have been told this, and I just had this conversation with my mom today. And I said, I don't understand this. And I love my mom because she goes, do you like my opinion? My mom was like 90 pounds, teeny tiny, sitting there. I was like, yes, please. She goes, bunch of bitches. And I'm like, that's it. That's it. But this is a problem, is that me as a female, I'm constantly told that all the time. And so what do? I pull back myself of who I am. And now I'm like, no, which brings me to the question. We're going all the way across the board for this episode. 100%. You got to give 3, starting with Lauren. What are your 3 red flags off the cut right away? What are your first 3 red flags?
Oh dear Jesus. First off, I want to say I love your mom. First red flag is inconsistency, lack of emotional intelligence. I'm answering this really fast. And bad teeth. I don't know. I was trying to answer it quickly. I like hair though too, but that's not a red flag. So I don't even know what I just said. I just said it so fast.
Going on each of your Instagrams after this and saying, I love your hair. I'm finding a pose. All right, Ethan, what are your 3? What are your 3 red flags?
You have to say it fast. Be in the what?
Very nice. Very nice. The hair comment.
What?
The hair comment.
Don't be a Satanist? Ethan, I'll go ahead and tell you we would not date. But I'm not a Satanist.
This would not be a match. Not a Pisces, not an OnlyFans, but it was the Satanist card. Just cut you right off.
Everyone, sorry.
Lord.
Yeah.
My first one is inconsistencies of your past. I've learned this. I swear to God, I've got a freaking just sonar out there for everybody. If all of your exes are crazy or you have no communication with your children, you are the problem, sir. You are part of the problem. That's a big thing for me. Not having friends. I don't know why suddenly that's become a problem, but this goes for male or females. If you do not have anyone, any relationship, friends, families, again, that's a huge flag for me. There's something wrong. You don't take ownership in your life. You don't know who you truly are. And if you don't like dogs.
Ooh, that's a big one for me too.
That's a no for me. Do you have to like lay in bed and have them like all over you? No, because there's moments I'm like, get away from me. But recently getting my new paralyzed girl and giving her a new life and probably her best life she'll ever have, you have to love dogs. And there's a difference. It's not like, oh, I really like them because they're yours and this is how I get close to you. No, we can read that and they can read that hook, line, and sinker. But now, of course, on my dating app, when it says, oh, things in common, dogs. Yeah, like weirdo, but great. Because if you love animals, you're going to be a nice, kind person. If you don't, if you're not an animal person, sorry, but when the rapture comes, you're not going on the ark with us. You're not welcome here. Okay. But I really enjoyed having you on talking about this because I'm sure people are like, oh, they're just going to talk about like sex and dating. And no, it's literally this episode to tell men you don't have to have it all figured out. Ladies, guess what? We have sat here, Lauren and I, and we have bantered and had this, I'm not paying for a date and I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that. Well, I always sit and think the best love of my life was a traveling musician that literally didn't even have 2 quarters to rub together. And that was my most amazing connection. Somebody who loved me for me. I loved him for him. Patchouli, tour bus, stank and all. And I dated somebody who had all of the money in the world and he was ugly. And I think we need to sit and really look at what Ethan said. Who are you getting to know? How are you getting to know the core of somebody? And if somebody doesn't have it all together, guess what? Maybe you don't either. And go through the motions with somebody and see what they could teach you. Like, Ethan, I'm learning so much from your social media. I'm not going to cry. Just got my lashes done. We ain't doing that. I'm so proud of what you're doing because I've seen what you've gone through and I've seen the hatred and I've just seen the nasty, negative world that you could have not been here anymore because of some of the things that you went through. And I'm proud of you big time. And I'm proud of you because I think what you're doing is very brave. And I've seen the ugly side of get a job and do this and do that. And you're lost. How many times? You don't always have to have a roadmap because sometimes when you're lost, it's supposed to take you exactly where you're supposed to be and meet the people you're supposed to meet and find yourself. Because I know Lauren and I really struggle right now with like our medical stuff that we've talked about. We're very uncomfortable in ourselves and our bodies not being what we know we can be. And that's embarrassing for us. And I think it's something like she said, we don't want to date because it's like, well, we're broken. Who wants this? But I think with men, you guys always find that there's something you might be broken. Who would want this? So this episode was to teach people, just be very kind and live your own adventure. I'm really learning that we only live one time. Did I live for me today or did I live for how the internet wants me to appear? Because that's obviously, we've been through the shit. It's time to actually have some fun. Well, I'll put all your info in the bio description. And Lauren, I'm really interested because I'm going to close out this episode. Are you going to go back on the dating app now?
Not right yet.
Girl, if I'm on there right now, you're on it. We've got to be tag team and come on.
I know. Give me when the heart monitor comes off. That's what I'm going to do.
Deal. Well, Ethan, thank you for stopping by, giving us your time. I'll put all your information in the bio description. Follow his journey. Men, reach out if you have questions, if you're proud. Maybe if you're lost too, you really don't have to hold it all in. There's always somebody you can reach out to. And Ethan, I'm proud of you and keep kicking life's ass on the journey.
You're awesome.
Thanks for tuning in to this month's episode of Spicy Saturday Women Unfiltered. We hope you enjoyed our unfiltered take on today's topic.
Set those date reminders on the first Saturday of every month to catch our most candid conversations about the highs, lows, and everything in between.
Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share the spice with your friends. Stay unfiltered, stay fabulous, and we'll catch you all bold bitches on our next episode.